Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the She Shoots podcast, Women Empowering Women in the Sharing Community, Season 5, Episode 54, Beyond the Target, Exploring E equals Steam in the Outdoors. My name is Regina Ruiz Ordonez, and today I'm joined by Deneen Tumlin, Casey Gavinshaw, Kelly, and Kelly Melanson. And honestly, I don't really have much to add for the beginning of the episode. So I will just pass it over to Kelly and Denise to introduce our amazing guest for today.
Sounds good, Regina. Thank you for that. I think we've got a great topic and a fantastic guest this morning. I don't know where I am. This evening. So I'm going to get into right. I'm somewhere in Calgary. I just don't know what the time is. So we're going to get into this, and I'm getting the opportunity to introduce Amanda. But before I read the official bio for today's show, Amanda, I want to say hi. It's been a while. We're going to talk about it today, how I met you, and it was related to your sponsorship with Browning and your shooting and your activity in the gun community. And so I'm really excited to hear all about what you're doing for the outdoors community now. So once I give this intro, we're going to get into the questions. So Welcome. So Amanda MacPhee, facilitator at Niagara Falls Innovation Hub equals STEAM program. She's a facilitator and oh my goodness, a facilitator at the Niagara Falls Innovation Hub for the eSTEAM program, and it connects with many schools across Niagara and recently in the GTA. Amanda works with the students in the podcast studio, teaching them how to use the equipment through a debate podcast. She is able to connect her outdoor knowledge and experiences to her debate podcast, giving the kids opportunities to learn about their environment and their impact on it. So now that I've struggled through that, and you have a way cooler studio than either Kelly or I, welcome to the show, Amanda.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for welcoming me.
You're very welcome.
Lots of welcomes. It's very Canadian here.
Thank yous and welcomes, right?
Yeah.
I love the studio and here, the space I've had with the students and to be able to connect. I know we haven't spoken in a while, but to be able to connect my experience in the shooting and hunting and outdoors and fishing worlds, I really liked the fact that seeing the kids light up about learning about their environment. I will say especially last year's program that we developed was our biggest hit for that. And I'll get more into that later.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear all about it. But I bet Kelly's got some opening questions for you.
Well, I do. Funny enough, though, Amanda and I saw each other recently at the Toronto Sportsman show. It was a couple of months ago, and Amanda and I have known each other for a couple of years now, right, Amanda?
Yeah, I would say so.
Right. And I just was so happy to see you again. And then we got an opportunity to talk a little bit. And I thought, you know what, you'd be a great guest to bring on to She Shoots. Because as Deneen was saying, you know, the subject that we're going to be talking about today is really, really important. I feel it's important. And that's why I brought it to the rest of the ladies here. But also, I think that the service you're doing for us as shooters, but also for the outdoors, is something that is going to continue to motivate our youth to participate in everything that we do. So again, thanks for coming on. So happy to see you. And yes, I'm super jealous of your podcast studio there.
Well, you guys will have to come on down to our studio. We got cameras on walls that work with remotes and audio boards, everything.
much more technical than we are sitting here in our living rooms or in our office spaces. So yeah, as Deneen has said, you know, we know you outside of what your profession is currently. So we know you and a little bit about your background, but our listeners don't. So why don't you talk about a little about where you're from, how you grew up, and then we'll get into more of how you got involved in shooting sports and sponsorship and that before we get into tonight's topic. Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Welland, Ontario, and here in Niagara.
Mhm.
Was originally just a retirement town, but since the college, Niagara College here has grown, it's also grown our town as well. So there's been a lot of changes, a lot of growth. I don't know if it's the same town as when I grew up, but it's definitely still Welland. But growing up here, we had a small handgun range. I didn't even know it was there for the longest time. I grew up in a family that wasn't really outdoorsy.
Okay.
I was like the outdoors kid. I was the one who wanted to climb trees and go see the animals. My family was very musical. Let's play on the computer. Um, but that due to some allergies that they had. So it just kind of family wasn't really outdoorsy growing up. I loved outdoors, but I was the odd one out. When I got a bit older, I really did enjoy sports, but I got in a car accident, which caused me
Hmm.
to be unable to play any contact sports. And going from a tomboy kind of girl, all of a sudden being thrusted into a new world where they're like, well, just try to be a girl. And I'm like, I don't even know the difference between eyeliner and mascara right now. So I felt really out of place for a really long time, just trying to find who I am again after the accident. And um, you know, 10 years later, like I wish I could tell myself, that in 15 years you're going to find shooting and it's going to fulfill that exact hole that you're missing right now. So, but yeah, after college, school was a lot for me, so I kind of focused on that. But after college, that's when I started to get into the shooting world a bit.
Hmm. How did you get introduced to that, by the way? Let's talk
Uh,
about it.
it is a crazy story, but I always like to look at myself as like a bridge between two worlds. Growing up in a family with anti-guns, and then going in my last year of college, getting robbed at gunpoint
Mhm.
with a sawed-off shotgun. That was a eye-opening experience for me, crazy for me. I vowed at that point I would never look at a gun and not know what it is, if it's loaded, if the safety's on. I didn't know. I'd never seen a gun before in my life, and I'm 24 getting robbed. So, right after that, I took a year to just kind of settle, finish up my college, and I went, I'm gonna go get my gun license. I'm not gonna be afraid of this. Even if I just get the license and I never do anything with it, I'm not gonna be afraid of this. Like I've never been someone to run away from what I'm afraid of. So, well, to a point. But I got the license and I tried like pistol shooting a bit with some of the trainers. It wasn't my thing. Next thing you know, I was at a store called Erie Tracker Outfitters. Amazing store, amazing family. The Malloys do so much for the community. But I was there and I saw their advertisement for a trap shoot for New Year's. And I showed up in the middle of winter in the snow, and we had a tiny little shack with a little tiny heater in it. We all bundled up inside to stay warm. And right then I was like, this is what I love. Like I'm out in the freezing cold and I can't wait for my turn to get up on that line.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it was really, really fast to fall in love, I will say.
Yeah, and I knew this story previously, but I think it's really important for you to own your story and be able to tell it. And I thank you for sharing it with people and our listeners because it was a scary experience for
Oh
you
yeah.
that started this, and you turned it around so that you took the power back from it. And that's what I admire so much about you and your involvement in trap shooting. So tell
Hmm.
us a little bit about that. So,
Well,
where are you currently trap shooting? And I know the answer to that too, but don't.
yeah.
So let's bring them up to speed on that piece.
Of course. So, right as I started trap shooting within 8 months, in that 8 months, I was shooting 3, 4 days a week, and then also doing archery. So I had just gone full blown into it while also working. Became very a chaotic period of time, especially during the ATAs in the summertime. The competition shoots being all over the place in Ontario. There was a lot of traveling, a lot of sleeping in my car. But it was definitely well worth it because I really felt like I improved. I felt like I was fulfilling that part in my heart that had always been missing since my car accident when I was younger. So it just kind of felt like everything came full circle and I was whole again. And I think that showed to Browning, and that's when Browning approached me and said they had been seeing some stuff online and wanted me to be a pro staff for them, which would be, they said I was the first female lone pro staff trap shooter in Canada. So I'm not sure if that's
Yeah.
accurate 100% because I believe there's other couples out west, and so I don't ever want to take that kudo from them, but I did feel special when I was told that. And after that, I just started traveling, shooting lots, meeting lots of people, and it became a lot. And then COVID kind of hit, and I
Yeah.
took a break. You know, I started
Yeah.
focusing on hunting and trying to be like more outdoors and not trapped in the house like they wanted us to.
Right. But yeah, that's how Deneen met you as well, through Browning and your sponsorship there.
Hmm.
It's one of the ways that I met you as well. I was following you on social media, by the way,
Oh,
long before we met in person. Do you want to talk a little bit about how I know you through the CCFR?
yes.
Yeah.
So I had an amazing message sent to me one wonderful day telling me about this calendar that I should apply for. And I honestly had never thought that I would be someone that would be a part of something that grand. I always wanted to be a part of like supporting women in the shooting sports, but I didn't think I would ever get into a situation like that where I'd be, you know, invited out for a weekend with a bunch of girls and get to share all of our experiences and um, get to take some great photos, amazing
Yeah, right?
photos. Like Baz was amazing.
Mhm.
Um, I'll always sing his praises every time someone says something about any photos from the CCFR. I'm like, ah, he's fantastic. Uh, but I came out, I had a fantastic weekend, and the calendar was a success. I still have people asking me, like, is there any way you can get me another copy? I know it's old and blah, 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 but I never got one in time. And I'm just like, I don't know. I tried a couple years ago to figure that out, but it was a lot. So I'm like just telling everybody, sorry, take a picture.
So your
But
calendar sold out completely. I just have to say that it's one of our most successful that we ever had. You were a huge part of that as well. Were a huge supporter of the CCFR and spread our message, but you also came out to Ladies' Days and promoted getting more women into shooting. So I wanted to thank you about that as well. You're right. Your pictures, they were smoking. I just have to say that. Um, uh, I remember you saying to me, "Oh, well, I have this dress, but I didn't bring it." And you describe it, and I
yes.
said, "Get it. We need it." And
Yeah.
yeah, so and you're correct. Baz did an amazing job. Baz is our photographer here in Ontario for our calendar, and his job is to make every girl look great, but also feel special. And I believe he did that, but I think that also the weekend that we have now, all the rest of the ladies that are a part of the She Shoots podcast, they're alumni from the calendar, and I think that they have had their own experiences. But can you talk a little bit about what that experience meant for you specifically, and how getting together with a group of ladies that are all shooters and promoting a calendar, and how it's related to bringing more women into shooting? What did that experience do for you?
Honestly, I've always felt a little awkward around a lot of women. I felt like I just didn't fit in because I was always the tomboy, right? So I
Mhm.
wanted to go play the sports. They wanted to play with their hair, and I was like, so being a part of a weekend where a bunch of women that actually have the same interests as me, that like going outside, that like learning about the shooting or fishing or hunting, or even just like taxidermy, learning that I've now met people that just that's all they want to do is they want to figure out taxidermy, and she's worked her butt off to try and figure out how to do it. And it's great to see women doing that. So it was a really nice feeling to be in a room with other women that didn't make me feel like I was small. Like they made me
Yeah.
feel like I was important, that I had value, that I I could say everything that I wanted to say and actually be understood.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great group of like-minded ladies, and the age range can be from 18 to 50, and it doesn't matter. Everybody gets along. It's beautiful. I love the way you described it, Amanda. It is quite an experience, and if there was ever a possibility to get the entire alumni together, that would be quite the weekend. That would be a
one of us has to buy a commune.
Right?
I'm hoping at some point we'll be able to do that. It's because you're right. There's the first calendar came out in 2018. There's been 13-ish. We've had the year that you were part of that calendar, we had over prepared, and typically we have a couple of people who will back out at the last minute. Nobody backed out at this point. And so we had a couple of group photos, etc. But that being said, we have close to 100 ladies that have been part of the calendar or getting everybody together. When we think about it from that perspective, it's 100 women that got along, that found other women who are very much the same. I too did not know the difference between an eyeliner and and a mascara, and that old comment. I'm very much a tomboy too. So we found each other, and there's more people out there that are hoping to, more women out there, more younger ladies out there that are hoping to be part of that community too. So again, what you've done for us with lending your image to that calendar and then also promoting it going forward, it's been something that I'm very grateful for you to have done, and making
I'm grateful
it such a
for
huge
you.
success.
Thank you.
So now that I'm done loving on you,
let me just summarize the love in so far. So we've got this beautiful woman who was in a calendar, promotes the shooting industry, is a sponsored shooter, and overcome major adversity to enter the sport. So let's go from there, Kelly. How do we top that? Now, what are you doing, Amanda?
Right now, I am working with Niagara Falls Innovation Hub, and they have hired me on as a facilitator. I have a background in video, audio production, television, film, radio, and so they hired me on to work with grades 7 and 8 originally. And it was just going to be like once a week, maybe every 2 weeks. Like we weren't sure if it was going to be much of anything. But we bring in a school, the class comes in, we break them up into groups. I get them group by group for about 5 hours. And I work with them on audio production, understanding microphones, how to speak into different ones, especially those who are about to graduate. I always give them tips, whoever's going to be valedictorian, all that. But they've brought me in to teach these kids how to debate and communicate effectively. And I was starting to see that, like, I have so much more knowledge to share, and I want to find a way that I can still meet the curriculum check marks and not get myself in trouble, but also give them an opportunity of like real life situations. So last year, our topic of debate was marine land here in Niagara Falls, what to do with marine land. What do you do with it's 1,000 acres? And I gave them about 5 suggestions. You can turn it back into a theme park. You can turn it into a bunch of houses or a farm or all these things, right? But I always brought up a map of marine land and explaining to them, here's the giant bush, here is our river, on the other side of that river is our marina, where the city makes money off of those boats being there every summer. It's also a boat launch that everybody uses, very popular. If you put roller coaster right across the street, you're not going to have people boating there. You're not going to want people hanging out there watching people scream as they go by on a coaster, or fishing is going to go out the window, and it's going to affect breeding habits. And then the wildlife too, the deer, the raccoons, the foxes. I explain all that to them, and they start to really understand that a lot of decisions that we do in our community actually affect our environment. Agriculture is one thing that I always push for Niagara because it's one of our biggest money makers here in Niagara. We make almost $2 billion in it a year. And it creates 24,000 jobs. That's a big impact on Niagara community. And if a simple decision of what to do with 1,000 acres affects that massively, because I always tell them, like, if our waterways are getting disturbed, if our wildlife is getting disturbed, it could cause droughts, it could cause flooding. We have to pay attention to these things in our area because it's very important because how we make our money here. And I think that was a really eye-opening aspect for a lot of the students to really start to incorporate that, their impact on their backyards, the fields they go play in. And then after that's our eSTEAM program, we've done AI in business even this year, and we talked about how those centers can affect our wildlife. We're already hearing reports of it creating stillbirths in livestock. So people are starting to question, how is a data center going to start to affect women in the area and our birth rates? And these are just new questions that are starting to come up. So I always like to bring these questions up and see where their heads are at. And I was really surprised this year. There were some classes that came in that were very 100% AI. Nobody should be working. Nobody should have a job. And I was like, okay, how are you going to get a car? How are you going to take your girlfriend out? And I started to give them the reality check a bit of it. But I was impressed to see that there was a majority, I will say, of students that started to really understand that, there is a place and a time for an AI and data centers and the fun stuff of using AI, but also understanding that there needs to be a restriction for us humans because there's some people that don't know their limits. So that was another program that we did where I was able to talk about the little bit about environment. AI was a little bit harder to bring environment into that. But we also, I'm gonna look at my notes. We run our STEM program in the summertime as well. And that's where I get kids from ages 3 all the way to 16. And that's when I whip out all of these. I hand them around.
Yeah,
they get to touch. Yeah, touch and play, feel. So I got deer, a raccoon, a squirrel, fox, pigeon wing, and some antlers. And I always like get them to get hands on, make some noise, and feel it out. Try to identify the animal. What does this animal eat? What is their habitat? What are things that you can look for in your community that would indicate this animal is nearby? And I found the kids, at first I was scared. I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to get like freaked out. Next thing you know, I'm going to get calls from parents going, you put a dead thing in my daughter's hands. But it's turned out really, really well. Really well.
Kids have been receptive of it, is what I'm hearing.
Super
from you.
receptive.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me fix this. I put something.
No worries.
Okay. Layer. And it keeps falling. There we go.
All right. There you go. We can see you now. Can you talk a little bit about how, because you did say you wanted to introduce this as part of the curriculum, and you like when we were talking at Toronto Sportsman Show, you said that you were a little concerned, right? That from the kids' participation, they're going to be a little bit scared about, touching dead things, but also from the program developers as well as even the parents. But you felt it was important for you to bring your experience with the outdoors and with conservation and hunting into and teaching it to the children. Why were you so scared? But also, what was the reception like from everyone? And why do you think it was so important for you?
I think I was scared and nervous about it because I never wanted to scare people away, and sometimes I feel like I can be like, oh, here, look, and I'm like excited, and it can be intense for other people, and I have to make sure that I take that into account when I'm introducing stuff like this. Like even when I'm introducing new meats to friends, I always like walk them through, explain there's different ways to cook it. because I never want to turn someone off from the entire industry just from one bad experience. So that I think was my biggest fear, a fear of parents giving me a call, being unhappy, thinking everything's unsanitary and gross and this and that. And I didn't want my bosses here to get any negativity from that. I'm very lucky. I will say I work in a building that's very diverse with the community of people, but we all try to stay very open and respectful to each other's ways of life, and we try to stay open to it as well. So I have over time, I started off by just putting like a shooting magazine in our front area where we have like our mailbox section, and it's just like these folders on the wall. But I used to put a magazine in there about shooting, or like a hunting magazine. I change it out every month or so. And it was because everybody walks in the front door, you walk by the front desk, everybody looks to see if their mail's there, and they see the heading hunting, shooting, or something outdoors. And I'd started doing that for the first while. Then I started bringing in a newspaper that I used to get delivered to me. And I leave that at the front desk just in case someone wanted to, poke through it or take a look. And I just slowly integrated who I was. Now I will say, like, the higher ups already knew who I was, because years ago I was walking in my hunting boots and camo right after a turkey hunt in the morning, and I was like, well, man, I gotta change. But a lot of our new members, we've grown a lot in the past few years, member wise, and so that's what I was more worried about, being a little like apprehensive. But surprisingly, after doing the magazines and then the little newspaper and then talking about what I shooting and showing pictures, and like even inviting people out to local ranges that I shoot at, like I shoot at Fort Erie. What is it called? It's the Sportsman Club in Fort Erie, and Canadian Sportsman Club, sorry. And they've been a great environment to be for new shooters, for them to learn. It's a really calm, quiet, chilled kind of range, while other ranges can be a lot more fun and boisterous and a lot of chit chat back and forth. This one's a little bit more reserved. It helps you get on your targets better if you're learning. I've also done a meat shoot there. I got totally off track. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, man. But anyway, yes. So back at the office, I've invited people out to local gun ranges. I've invited them out to the meat shoots. I always show off these items every time I bring them in to people if they have questions. I always leave, I've made like a little kid slideshow, but I always leave it on the computer for anyone to go and look at, where this animal comes from, what does it eat, what does it hunt, that kind of stuff. And then this way they always have full access to learn, and I'm always around for questions. Which I have had some people come up to me and ask me about, like their hunting license and some regulations and how do they work around this, or, they're new and they just got the license, but they don't really have anybody. I always try to send them to someone that can kind of be a mentor in a way for them. But so far it's been pretty good, I think, with everybody here. I did just get the approval from the CEOs, if I ever get it, fingers crossed. I have applied to be a firearms instructor for running courses right out of here, and the Niagara Falls Innovation Hub would like to be a part of that and offer the classroom for me to run the classes. So I think that's a awesome. huge moment of support from them. I definitely felt recognized and appreciated by them. So yeah, shout out to Niagara Falls. They were fantastic with me.
That's great news, and good luck with that. That pursuit. It will be huge, and it's nice to see more publicly accessible and mainstream type of facility supporting not only you and your dreams, but the ability to connect the community to the opportunity to get their firearms license. So that's great. That's absolutely great. So I'm curious about the kids and the engagement. You're giving them topics and they're debating or they're thinking about things. So you're really getting the wheels moving. What are give us some examples of some of the kids that have shown up and really made you go, wow, like, that's a critical thinking moment for a young child, or something that maybe made you go, I never thought of it that way. So like, give us some examples of some of these great young minds that you're working with.
Oh, I've had some kids surprise me. Um, when we were talking about the marine land debate last year, that was the biggest one, I will say. There was one kid that really stood out. Um, I believe his family was an outdoors family, so he had some understanding. But what I liked was that he didn't take an aggressive approach with the other kids in the debate.
Okay.
It was him against three other kids, and he had to argue his point appropriately and learn to manage his feelings and make sure that he took in all of the information before he made a point. And I really was impressed with him and how he communicated with the other three and explained to them, your idea is fantastic for this aspect, but it leaves out how it's going to affect um, the fish in the river, because my dad likes to bring his boat there, and if he can't fit, I was like, okay. But he can't, his dad boats there and fishes there, and so he was explaining that this would affect where his dad would go, and so his dad wouldn't be paying the city, which then the student then pointed at another kid who was like, your whole argument is that the city needs these funds and that it's going to build money for the city to build a theme park, but you're actually costing the city more money because you're demolishing something that was already built, that was already bringing in income, and that was good for the community and protected. So it was interesting how we like pointed at one student, broke down their argument and explained how they were only thinking about the community needs. Like, oh, like the community needs a gas station and a community needs houses to live in. And we have a housing crisis. Okay, yes, we do. But building a bunch of houses there will then also what do what to our environment and our animals in that area. It's a large bush. It's housed raccoons and foxes and deer for years, turkey even. So in my mind, I'm like demolishing that habitat when we're already making their habitats smaller and smaller and smaller in Niagara Falls. I feel like little patches like that should be protected. And this student definitely felt the same way, the way he explained to his fellow student, explaining that city needs or community needs are important, but they don't trump our environmental needs, because our environmental needs is one that makes us able to live here, and two, that's what makes our entire region money. And then he like pointed at the next student and explained how the city could make money. And then he pointed at the next student and was like, farming is a great idea, but this isn't land that you can farm on. It's not good land for farming. You need to have good land for farming. So your whole argument of building the agriculture community doesn't really work because your land isn't going to produce anything. I was like, okay, I'll sit back. Well, he just went off on each student, but he was respectful about it. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't rude. He was steady about it. Well, that's what I really liked about it. And that's what stood out to me. And even this year, having a student bring up, how is this going to affect our marinas? Because someone heard that there was going to be possibly a data center put out in Port Colborne or Fort Erie area. And they brought that up and saying like, how is this going to affect our entire community that's fishing? That's a port town. It's completely built on fishing and boats and our canal and our lock system. So it doesn't make sense why we would put something in there that could completely kill an entire industry that is the foundation for these cities, right? Sorry, I'm a rambler.
No, it takes a lot of passion and some great conversations. Now, what about kids that come in with one mindset and perhaps pivot, thinking that doing it one way is the way, but then by the time the debate's over, now they're interested in learning more about the outdoors, the wildlife, the habitats, protecting
sustainability.
Absolutely. Do you see that?
Yeah, I've had actually recently I've had a student she came to us through our I think it's called NAPAM program, which is our program with the Native centers here in Fort Erie and in St. Catharines. They bring in students that feel disconnected from job opportunities and they don't know what their options are. I had one girl in here and she kept being pushed into like, well, why don't you be an engineer and why don't you go to college and why don't you uh, be, a home caregiver and take care of children? And she was like, I can't. And she pulled me aside and she's like, I can't feel good in any of those positions. She's like, I don't really want to work with people, but I love the outdoors. I love hiking. I love walking. I love being around wildlife. So she's like, I don't know what I can do with my future. I have no options. And I'm like, okay, there's MNR. They're definitely sending people out all the time to test waters and check for diseases in trees. Then there's a whole company that's hiring people where they fly you up in a helicopter, drop you off up north for like a day or two, and you just go walking and plant trees. I'm like, you could do something like that where you're not around people all the time. You get to explore, you get to hike, you get to be involved in the environment, and rebuilding it. And her face lit up. She had felt like she's like, I had no idea that jobs in the outdoors really existed. I thought that like wouldn't happen for me. And I was like, it can 100% happen for you. You just got to know that you got to find the right people that are going to connect you to the right jobs that you're looking for. And I always tell my students, you need to surround yourself with people that have the things you want to have because that's the best way you can always get them. If you want to be a doctor, surround yourself with doctors. You want to be a lawyer, surround yourself with lawyers or law clerks and learn the lingo and the community in it. I wanted to be awesome. No. So I joined shooting and I saw these awesome women. I was like, I want to be like them. So I was, that's how I jumped into it.
Well, I think you achieved that. It sounds like, you found your passion. And I think that she's also being shown by your example that there are possibilities in the outdoors, the environment, conservation. It's really important. It's important to our next generation too. I say that because, you are correct. Niagara and Niagara Falls region is quickly becoming urbanized, right? All of the areas, and we have to have sustainability down there. I'm glad to hear that you are getting debate about getting them to debate about that, and people are changing their minds as well. So you are impacting the future of some children. They're not really children. So
no,
the debate kids are in grades 7 and 8. So that's 14, 15.
About there, yeah. And now we're going to be opening it up to, because we're getting so many schools involved, we're now opening it up to grade 11s as well to come in. And we're going to like bring it up a notch and see from their business side of things if they have any input on what we can do.
So I'm going through the statistics a little bit. So it sounds like you've been, so is it E equals STEAM or is it STEAM, but with the equal sign in the center of it?
We call it eSTEAM program, but it is written with an equals. Not sure.
I think that
I think it's what somebody else did.
Yeah, I think that the reasoning behind that is because, the environment equals esteem. You're promoting that within the kids, right?
Yeah.
To build esteem, their own self-esteem.
Oh, that's so smart. That's great. I like that. I'm going to go with that one from now on.
Okay, go with that one. But I'm going through some of the statistics. It says that, so you've had over 1,500 plus students impacted by this program. So that's huge. You have 8 municipalities as well involved. Do you want to talk about the different municipalities that currently have this program running?
I only know about our program here. I know there is another eSTEAM program, I believe in like Waterloo area.
Okay.
but it's basically different community centers or schools. They'll apply to be a program facilitator, and then we get the program sent to us, and then we get it to the schools, and then we facilitate. So I wouldn't be too high up in that. My wonderful boss, Katie, is the one who organizes everything, and she just tells me where to show up and what kids I got.
Right. So it's only in your area. It's not in other provinces or.
East Team program is something that I believe that the Canadian government also offers. That you say you worked at a community center or you worked somewhere, and as a program director, you could apply to run this program. I believe you go to the government website. They send you like a little quiz, you pay for the program, and then you develop it based off of what they send you. They also give you links to a website, an eSteam website, where they really break down for different age groups and different subjects if you wanted to focus on, maybe 1 or 2 instead of 4 or 6. But we're stuck on right now 4 subjects. We've got the podcast studio, the green screen studio, where they get to work with cameras and a green screen and learn about backgrounds. Then we have financial literacy, where they get to build an entire warehouse with 3D printed buildings and structures and learn about budgeting for a giant warehouse. And then we also send them to our engineering room. We call it our maker space. It's where we have 3D printers, laser printers, and the kids get to work with Connects to build cranes. So they really get hands-on in all different fields. We tried to be really broad to just make sure that all the students felt like they were connecting with at least one of the classes, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really, really exciting. I'm glad to hear it's growing to the older ages. And it'll be really interesting, Amanda, when you get, I won't say if, when you get the firearms program and the PAL program coming in, and then being able to connect the dots from firearms to hunting and conservation, because as you know intimately, that is so closely connected and near and dear to most of us who hunt, also shoot, or vice versa, and may throw a line in the water every now and again. So the environment's so critical to understand and to protect. So you're doing amazing things there, and I wish I could be a fly on the wall with some of these debates because I can just imagine kids feel so educated now by social media, and they're so much more bold with what they do in many ways, but still very I don't want to say immature, but not mature in their knowledge.
Naive.
So, naive. So thank you. So it would be so good to watch the evolution through the time that they get to spend with you and see the future sort of coming out of your classroom there. I think that's pretty cool.
It is impressive to see the students. Sometimes I've had students that were really, really quiet. I've had teachers pull me aside, go, I've had parent-teacher meetings with her parents. I've been trying. We've brought in other facilitators to help her, and she's just not really communicating. And then I get her in my podcast room, and I give her an opportunity and a platform to speak. And she was like a little nervous at first, but I was like, "You're like, keep going. You got this. You're saying everything right." And I like encouraged her. And next thing you know, she was laying out her points, drawing her lines, explaining where, what she wanted, what her argument was. And she was really bold and strong. And when she was done in the podcast, she walked out. The teacher asked me how she did. And I said, she was very bold and very strong. And he was like, I would never have thought that word would be described for her. And I'm like, I feel like she just needed the right atmosphere to feel confident enough to just kind of use her voice. I've even had a blind student with me, and they wouldn't let their blindness get in the way of anything. They were using all of their tools to try and read any kind of reading piece that I had written out or put out for them. They were asking questions. They didn't want to use their helper, but they wanted me to talk to them and help them. And seeing her kind of overcome her disability was really inspiring, because it made me feel like there are other people out there that really want to overcome what they're going through in life, whether it be temporary or long term.
Sure.
And I'm always someone who has a lot of respect for people that overcome things like that. So
Absolutely. So it sounds like you've got great support in the organization. Yeah. Where does the organization get their funding and their support? And are schools invited to come, or are they paying? How do people get involved in this?
We work with a gentleman called Blaine McDougall, who is our kind of liaison person between the Niagara Catholic School Board and public district school board. Those two are Catholic district school board and the public district school board. My apologies. He works with those school boards and going to the schools, explaining to them about our program, telling the teachers about it. Then hopefully the students or the school usually says yes. They send out parental, sign off on it. And once they have enough students that want to be a part of it, they book a date with us. They tend to really like it. Niagara Falls Innovation Hub is a nonprofit organization, but we do get sponsorships through many businesses in Niagara that really believe in our program and really see the impact that we've had. The whole hub is about helping entrepreneurs build a business, connect with the community, grow your business. We offer business classes and all kinds of things. So there's all sorts of people here always looking for ways to either volunteer, help, donate, raise funds for. So I think that's where our funding comes from. I believe the city as well is a huge contributor as well to making sure that this building is running and functioning well. I think they're seeing good results coming out of here. So I think that's why we keep getting the funding, which is thankful. I'm very thankful for that.
That's great news. And I mean, it's okay if you don't know all the answers, because we've thrown the website for the Innovation Hub up on the screen. So if people really want to know more and they're in the area, they can go check it out at nfinnovationhub.ca. So that's fantastic. So for me, the next question I think is one of the most exciting, because it connects the She Shoots podcast and why we do what we do to what you do, which is, why is it important that we do this, Amanda? Investing time in youth, connecting them to the outdoors, getting them out hunting or shooting. Why do you?
I had one experience with a student, and it was the exact moment. As soon as I heard this student say this, I was like, that's why this is important. One student looked at me and said that she loved animals, and if we are destroying their habitats, why can't we just pick up all the animals and move them all out of Niagara, and then we don't affect them? And I'm like, it was sweet in a way where she was like caring about animals, but at the same, she was young. I think she was a grade 7, but in her mind it was, well, just pick up all the animals and move them, and then it's not an issue. And she didn't understand the animals were here first. We're in their habitat. We're supposed to be working and living around them and making a cohesive environment for both of us. And that comment, I will say, that was my moment of this is why this is important, because just understanding, speaking with students who are like, oh yeah, you can poke a fish with a stick. And I'm like, but why would you do that? Why wouldn't you let the fish back in the water? These are things that you can do to help your environment. Just the kids are going to be kids. They're going to say things that they wouldn't like, oh, I hate raccoons and they're always in the garbage and da 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 da. And it's like, okay, well, there's an importance for raccoons as well. And understanding that, they need to eat and they have a family and they have little cubs too. And like seeing their minds open up to like, oh, it has a family. It's trying to feed that family.
Mhm.
Oh, like that realization is definitely one of those like heartwarming, fulfilling moments when I have those opportunities with students. So
Keep it up. That's
Yeah.
good. We have to keep bringing that reality home because unfortunately TV and movies depicts animals in a more human type environment quite often, and that teaches kids that we can treat those animals and their habitats the way we treat our cities and our communities, which isn't always appropriate, nor is
Yeah.
it even truth. So yeah,
Yeah.
Very,
right,
very, very true.
right. So
Yeah.
Disney's wonderful, but didn't give us all a reality all the time. So
Yes.
Correct.
That's another thing is talking with my friends' kids. Katie, who I mentioned here, is one of my bosses. She has a wonderful son who's always been interested in it. He's a little too young right now, but he's always been interested in hunting, and he wants to get into it, and he's excited to it. And it's like he was 5 when he mentioned it, so I'm like, let's start talking about animals. Let's start understanding that hunting comes with like a lot of nice stuff, but also a lot of stuff that can be a lot hard thing to swallow when you're young. So let's like ease you into it and understanding, the depth of what you're doing. But even him getting excited, I was like, one of these days, once he gets like, I think he's getting to about 7 now. I want to bring in, maybe a duck I've shot or something like that and show him how I harvest it and get him to like touch the feathers and see it. Obviously wash his hands after, but I definitely want him to have that experience to see if it's something that he would really want or if it's just something he's in a phase of right now.
Right.
His mom is not a hunter, but she is like, I'm all for it. She's like, I can't do it, but she's like, if he wants to do it, I'm all for it. So
amazing.
I love it. I love that you're doing those baby steps, and so he's asking about it, and you're saying, okay, let's do this a little bit at a time. Placing the raccoon skull in his hand, that might be part of the baby steps, right?
Yeah.
And that. So we always leave. So our time is closing out here, but before we do go, and by the way, stick around because we have some questions and all that. Maybe potentially, it looks like maybe. So we always leave with more of a final question for you, or final words. And I want to go back to you as somebody who is a shooter, who is, I'm going to say it, you're a mentor to a lot of young girls as well and young ladies. So final words for any women or young girls who are interested in getting into shooting competitively or even just in the outdoors.
I always tell young girls, like, what if I see a good crowd or I always see young women, I always let them know, I'm like, the world can be a scary place. I mean, lots of things that are scary. I'm like, but here's the thing that you got to do. You got to get skilled. You got to be smart in something. You got to be passionate about something. Whatever it is, that's what's going to make you glow. And that is how you make the world afraid of you instead of you afraid of it. And that's the best way you can accomplish anything in life is just keep thinking like the world's going to be scared of me if I just work extra hard and then you don't feel so small or worried about other things. I'm a short person. I walk around the world looking up all the time at everybody.
I can confirm.
Looking up, it always made me feel small. It always made me feel like I had to fight to be significant, fight to be heard. And then I started learning that there needed to be the substance behind it. And that just, going to get the experience, going to get the certificates, going to ask the questions, get the knowledge, and be that hub of information so that other people can access that information through me. That's how I just felt like I got bigger and better and stronger than I was before. When I was just scared of everything and didn't want to speak up or nothing. But no, women definitely get out there and make the world scared of you.
Mm-hmm. Just like you did.
It was a
Maybe a
great
little
word to
bit.
advice. I love
Yeah.
it. Embrace what makes you feel good and lights you up, and then
Yeah.
watch out. Yeah, that's great, Amanda. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. That's a different
Yeah.
approach than we've had before, and I love it.
Yeah, it is. 100%
Well, thank you
different.
guys so much.
Really enjoyed having you on tonight and all of everything that you've been doing for our youth here in Ontario with the Esteem, I love it, program, but also about how you are a mentor, as I said, and a role model for those young women that are coming up, and and using the outdoors as either a career or also a passion. So thank you again for coming on. I'm really super excited. I'm so glad to see you at the Toronto Sportsman Show, and reconnecting with you. And then I just want to continue to, to maintain that connection. I've missed you so much. So,
Oh my gosh. Honestly, when you yelled out my name, you made me feel like so important and so good, and like that feeling doesn't come often when I'm around other women. A lot of the time I often feel like really like scared or like, oh, they're probably amazing and then I'm not, or something like that. But you definitely had a way of just like making me feel like I was actually genuinely loved, so I
you
appreciated that a lot.
absolutely are. So all these ladies, I genuinely love you all. You're all part of my tribe. So now that I'm going to cry, I'm going to turn it over to Rahina so that she can bring us up to date on everything.
Hello, thank you. Casey, I don't think we have any questions. Just comments about people just praising how great Amanda is, right?
Oh.
Lots of glowing comments, Amanda. If you hadn't seen them being posted, there was a lot of accolades and love coming your way.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody.
It's our viewers. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, exactly. So because there's not questions, I'll just move on to upcoming events. Amanda, same thing. If you have any events in your area that you want to mention, please go ahead. If no, I'll just mention some upcoming events that we are aware of so that if you or listeners want to participate, they can go and sign up.
Yeah.
So the Buffalo Target Shooting Association, BTSA, as a lot of us like to call it, in the Calgary area has a few events coming up. So they have the Annie Oakley Day that's happening on Saturday, July 25th. There's still about 20 some spots last time I checked. And it's open for women that are curious about firearms that they've never really shot or don't have the ability to get out. So this would be a great event if you're interested. They also have the Steel Challenge Canadian National Championship happening on August 15th and 16th. Same thing, it's open to shooters of all abilities, and registration is now open. You can go to steelchallenge.ca. You can also contact steel@btsa.com or just go to btsa.ca. And the last event that we're aware of at BTSA is the Young Guns and Family Shoot event that's happening on September 12th, 2026. So if you're in the Calgary area and are interested, please go ahead and check them out. Yeah, they're always fun. In Vancouver, we have the Guns N' Roses Fundamentals of Shotgun Shooting happening at the Vancouver Gun Club on Saturday, July 18th. And there's only one spot left. So if there's a lucky lady that wants to participate, there's one spot left for you. So you can check out vancouvergunclub.ca to register for that event. And then we move on to Dunville. So they're having a Ladies' Day hosted by the Dunville Hunters and Anglers on Saturday, August 8th. Same thing, no experience necessary. And you can go to dunvillehuntersandanglers.ca to register for the event. And last but definitely not least, we have the Yeah, I Shoot Like a Girl, hosted by the Lower Trent Valley Fish and Game Club in partnership with CSSA and CCFR on Saturday, August 22nd. But Kelly, I believe this one's sold out, isn't it?
Absolutely sold out. I will be there. So
That's
if
awesome.
you're interested in coming out and seeing me, I'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if any of our listeners know of any more upcoming events that you would
Yes.
like us to mention on the podcast, please let us know. Other than that, make sure to send us pictures. We want to see your pictures. Tag us on our social media. We'd like to share them to the rest of the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have an Eastern satellite shoot coming up in St. Thomas. Here in Ontario. It's the first time it's come to Canada. I believe they tried to do it last year. I don't know if it worked out or not. But this year, apparently, it's being advertised as the first time. So Big Eastern satellite shoot, it's about 4 or 5 days. Most local ranges around here weren't even doing ATA shoots on this past Sunday because they were prepping for this Big Eastern shoot. I've heard Caesar Garini's going to be there and a few other like Browning. So make sure if you like shooting trap, this would be a really good shoot to go show up to. There's going to be lots of prizes, whether it be leather pouches, buckles, or some money.
Ooh,
Amazing. Money is always good.
Money's king.
Money.
Absolutely.
In the trap world, the big, you're probably familiar with it, Amanda, last weekend, the big Stampede Grand was held at the De Winton Shooting Grounds, hosted by AHIA, and it was sold out and shut down the entire trap range, the 5 stand, the skeet ranges. It's a big deal. But that said, they're still having women and youth nights all through the summer and into the fall. So
Nice.
I do pop in and so hopefully I can see some of our listeners at those events as well.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great. Just to have more people showing up that recognize you and see you. Will you be coming out to Ontario events anytime soon?
I don't know that I have Ontario events for trap in my future, but I may have some dog trials coming up. So.
Okay, all right.
Excellent.
That's pretty interesting. Okay.
And Amanda, where can people find you?
You can look me up on my Instagram page, which is love_my_Browning, or you can just look up my name, Amanda MacPhee. It should pop up there. Everything is open. It should be a lot of shooting. But that is the best place to be able to check out what I'm doing, what's new, and where I'm at. I'll either shooting, hunting, fishing, or traveling. I love camping too, so I'm always up north.
Awesome.
Sounds like a terrible lifestyle, Amanda.
I know. Horrible.
Amazing. Okay, well, thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us today. You were an amazing guest. Love listening to everything you had to say. And look forward to having to debate with some of those young people that you're teaching.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're coming out into the world and they'll come into the corporate world soon. So, they'll be good.
Hey, they're going in strong.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so with that, I'll just go ahead and close the episode then. So just as a reminder, if you want to just give us any suggestions on guest topics, events happening in your area, please send us an email to thesheshoots@gmail.ca or send us a message through our social media pages. You can listen to us or you can watch us on YouTube and Facebook if you want to see the video version, or you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. We also have the Instagram page, so check out our pictures. We announce stuff in there all the time.
Yep.
And that's it. We'll see you guys on our next episode next month, second Tuesday of the month, as always, at our regular time of 5 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. MST, 8 p.m. EST. So with that, have a good night, everyone, and we'll see you next time.